Lottery ticket machines in San Jose. Lottery officials say there hasn't been a billion-dollar jackpot in almost a year and a half. This rare event has driven countless hopeful players to try their luck.
What he did in this case looks more like planning than mental chaos.
A man accused of shooting and killing former Laney College football coach John Beam is set to appear in court today as we learn new details about the case, including how investigators say he got the gun. But one legal expert says this may change how his defense is handled. An explosion at a gas station in San Francisco sends flames and smoke high into the air. What firefighters say caused the blast. Plus,
not safe here. A lot of the neighbors aren't safe here, really.
Frustrations on a street just outside of Hayward where a house exploded last week. What people living in the neighborhood are doing today in hopes of getting some help.
From KTVU Fox 2 News, this is Mornings on 2.
Good morning. I'm Garcia Micaelia.
I'm Andre Sr. Today is Tuesday, December 16th. 3 weeks. That is the dry stretch that we've had.
Amazing.
3 weeks coming to an end. Meteorologist Rosemary Ruska joins us this morning with a look at your forecast. Rosemary.
Yeah. Singing in the rain is what I'm going to be doing, guys, as we get into the days ahead. Scattered showers already falling over parts of Lake County, Mendocino County this morning, and it really favors the North Bay for this round. I'll have a better look at what we can expect here coming up momentarily, but here is a view over the Oakland skyline where we do have the high clouds associated with that wet weather out there this morning. Sun will rise officially right around 7:17 San Francisco time. And even though it's a very chilly start, not quite as cold as yesterday morning, temperatures ranging from low 40s to low 50s. And we do have a little bit of patchy fog, but it's not as widespread. And we don't have a patchy dense fog advisory. So changes are already underway. Better details on what we can expect with this first system and the bigger storm on the weekend in the extended forecast coming up at 7:01. The highways are busy this morning. Let's see what is going on with Sal. Good morning.
Good morning. We do have a problem on the Richmond Bridge. It's very slow approaching that span because of an, pardon me, a stalled truck. It's not that far away from the toll plaza. We have a bigger, way bigger than usual backup on the Richmond Bridge. Now, they made some progress and they hooked it up, but things are backed up from near the Regatta overcrossing. 80 westbound busy, and at the Bay Bridge toll plaza, we're backed up to the maze. Another update in just a few minutes, but now it's 7:01. Let's get right back to the headlines.
Thank you, Sal. Happening today, a man accused of killing Laney College athletic director John Beam is set to enter a plea. The court continues to monitor his mental state to see whether he is fit to stand trial. Our James Torres live here in Oakland with why prosecutors, James, are pushing to prove the man knew exactly what he was doing that day.
Gossie, good morning. It's a plea hearing that we're expected later this morning, and we don't really expect to see the trial start for quite a long time, but we know the prosecutors and the prosecution is trying to make the case that this suspected gunman very much knew exactly what he was doing. Cedric Irving Jr., he is now facing murder charges. He saw a judge for the first time last month, and police say he walked onto Laney College's campus, confronted athletic director and longtime Oakland football coach John Beam, shot and killed him. Court documents revealed Irving feared Beam was, quote, using witchcraft to haunt his dreams and mess with his body. Defense attorneys will now look at Irving's state and his mental health, but prosecutors say Irving signed the proper paperwork to buy the gun used in the attack legally. The state did a background check and found he had no criminal history, and he even waited the mandatory 10-day minimum waiting period before picking up the weapon to use it about a week later.
What he did in this case looks more like planning than mental chaos. Voodoo made me did it. I don't know a juror in Alameda County that's going to believe that story.
We also reached out to the shop that sold Irving the gun. Owners there declined to offer a comment. He is now held without bond at Santa Rita Jail. His court hearing set to start at 9 o'clock this morning. Of course, we'll let you know what happens inside. We're live this morning in Oakland. I'm James Torres, KTVU Fox 2 News.
James, thank you. It is coming up on 7:04 this morning. San Francisco firefighters say there are no reports of injuries from an explosion and fire at a Mission District gas station. It happened shortly after 4:30 yesterday afternoon at a Shell station near the corner of 16th and Guerrero Streets. The blast sent a huge plume of black smoke into the air and forced the evacuation of several nearby buildings. Firefighters say the explosion happened while crews are removing a fuel tank at the gas station.
An excavator hit one of the tanks, and we had some backup fuel flow into the lines, and the spark caused the fire. We were able to evacuate the building next door, strike a full box response, and extinguish the fire using foam.
Firefighters remained on scene for several hours last night to make sure there were no flare-ups. The fire department is now leading the investigation into the cause of this explosion.
Last week's gas explosion in a neighborhood near Hayward will take center stage at today's Alameda County Board of Supervisors meeting. Many who live on East Llewellyn Boulevard plan to attend the meeting to express their safety concerns following that blast. The NTSB says the gas pipeline was damaged during an ongoing road improvement project. One neighbor says she's been complaining about the project for months.
When the explosion happened, I was in the backyard. I know it's gas pipe. I was so shocking. Before the Thanksgiving, I deal with the flooding. My crawl space basement flooding. Now it's molding.
Investigators say 6 people were injured in the blast, including 3 PG&E workers. 3 buildings were destroyed. The NTSB will be on the scene all this week working to determine the cause.
Well, investigators are releasing new details about the gunman in the attack at Australia's Bondi Beach. Police say the father and son who carried out the attack were motivated by Islamic State ideology. Both gunmen killed at least 15 people and injured more than a dozen others. Police say the 50-year-old father was shot and killed by police, while his 24-year-old son remains hospitalized for his injuries.
Early indications point to a terrorist attack inspired by Islamic State, allegedly committed by a father and son.
The vehicle, which is registered to the younger male, contained IEDs, but I also confirmed that it contained 2 homemade ISIS flags.
There are 25 people still being treated in hospitals, 10 of them in critical condition. This marked the country's worst mass shooting in almost 30 years.
That attack means here at home, safety concerns are top of mind for people who are out and about celebrating the holidays. People at San Jose's Christmas in the Park say they're more mindful of their surroundings, but still able to enjoy the festivities.
Definitely been thinking twice recently, especially with all the shootings and the violence in the world.
Yeah.
But we came out on a weekday, so we were expecting not as much crowd. Yeah.
I'm a little more aware of my surroundings, making sure that I have an inkling of what's going around or what's happening around me.
The free event at Plaza de Cesar Chavez has been going on since 1980. It draws visitors from all over the Bay with its light displays, musical and animated exhibits, and a 50-foot walk-through tree.
Well, the city of San Francisco says it's adding 90 new treatment beds at San Francisco General to care for people with severe mental and behavioral health challenges.
50 of those will be what we call locked beds for folks that need that level of mental health psychiatric support. For people that are publicly conserved, that more than doubles the number of those types of beds.
Mayor Daniel Lurie says the expansion will allow the hospital to move faster to connect people with the right level of care. The announcement comes as workers at SF General are calling for more resources following the stabbing of a social worker at the hospital earlier this month.
Across the Bay, the unexpected departures now of 2 high-ranking members of the Oakland Unified School District. The Chronicle reports that Oakland Unified's Chief of Staff and Chief Business Officer have left. The Chief Business Officer, Lisa Grant Dawson, says she submitted her resignation last week. Chief of Staff Dan Bellino says he was fired last week. This comes as Oakland Unified is facing a massive budget crisis. The school board vice president says the interim superintendent is developing her own leadership team to move forward. New this morning, a new option for drivers heading between the Bay Area and Sacramento. The first section of the new express lanes along Interstate 80 in Solano County were just activated at 5 o'clock this morning. The express lanes run from Red Top Road in Fairfield to Interstate 505 in Vacaville. The 18-mile stretch will operate similarly to express lanes in the heart of the Bay Area. Tolls will change based on the amount of traffic, and there are reduced tolls for people who are carpooling. The express lanes may eventually extend all the way to Sacramento.
Time is 7:08. pardon me, and right now we do have slow traffic building up in the East Bay. Let's go to Highway 4 and 680 and all that. Highway 4 is okay. It looks like we have a couple of new problems southbound 680 coming in through Pleasant Hill as you drive to Walnut Creek, and you might see some slow traffic. I like to get rid of the icons and see what we're dealing with there. You can see some slowing as you approach the Walnut Creek interchange. 80 westbound is slow, and we have a bigger than usual backup approaching the Richmond Bridge because of an earlier stalled truck. Marin County southbound 101 is slow as usual. At the Bay Bridge, we are backed up beyond the maze and the metering lights are on. And I want to take a gander at the South Bay commute here. It is backed up on the freeways now getting over to the West Valley, but I still think it's not as bad as it will be as this commute tends to start later in the 7 o'clock hour. 7:09, let's go back to the desk.
All right, thank you so much, Sal. Chaos on a cable car in San Francisco. The iconic vehicle coming to an abrupt stop. The incident sending several people to the hospital.
A new opportunity for soccer fans who want to see World Cup matches at Levi Stadium and beyond. Why they may have a bit of a challenge ahead. We'll examine a new ticket lottery.
Jacoby & Myers has been a proud part of the California community since 1972. We've stood by our neighbors, helping hundreds of thousands of families get the justice they deserve. Whether it's fighting insurance companies or fighting for you in court, we'll stand up for you. At Jacoby & Myers, we know the stakes, your family, your health, your future. For over 50 years, we've been California's trusted name in legal care. If you've been injured, call us today at 1-800-5-MILLION, because you deserve justice.
All right, some of the stories we're following for you this morning at 7:13. A memorial is taking shape on the Hollywood Walk of Fame for director Rob Reiner and his wife, who were found dead inside their Los Angeles home Sunday. Their son, Nick Reiner, is being held without bond on suspicion of killing them. Luigi Mangione is due back in a Manhattan courtroom this morning. The pretrial hearing is tied to the evidence that was gathered in the killing of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson. Mangione's defense team argues police officers in Pennsylvania illegally searched searched his backpack when they took him into custody. Officers say they found a gun and a silencer inside that backpack. Prosecutors say those arresting officers followed the law during that arrest. Rhode Island authorities are hoping a just-released video will lead to an arrest in this weekend's mass shooting at Brown University. The video from hours before the shooting shows a possible suspect wearing a mask and hat walking down a street in Providence. Authorities describe the person seen in the video as a stocky man about 5 feet 8 inches tall.
Investigators are working to learn what caused a cable car in San Francisco to stop abruptly, sending more than a dozen people to the hospital. It happened about 3:15 yesterday afternoon on California Street between Leavenworth and Hyde near Nob Hill. 13 people were taken to the hospital after the cable car came to a sudden stop. Firefighters say that most of the riders on board suffered minor to moderate injuries.
There appears to be no other vehicle that was involved in this incident here. And like I said, it's on their investigation as to what actually happened.
Muni paused cable car service on California Street for the rest of the day. This morning, Muni says service is back up and running. Well, it has been more than 30 years since Americans have had the chance to watch their national soccer team play a World Cup match on their home turf.
With only 177 days until the start of the World Cup, the excitement is building, Garcia. A third phase of ticket applications now open. Fans can pick any match throughout the tournament and apply for up to 4 tickets, but they can expect some sticker shock. The United States' first match against Paraguay in Los Angeles has 3 tiers of tickets available, and the cheapest tier will cost you more than $1,200 per ticket. Even if you want to pay the price, getting a ticket will not be easy.
When you have to fill out a form that, verifies who you are, goes through this process, wait for the number, and then you wait for the ticket your group to open up. I think probably the biggest hurdle is going to be that number, right, and getting your FIFA ID number, because there's it's a step in the process that people aren't necessarily used to.
So easy, right? Not really. The 2026 FIFA World Cup will be played in 16 host cities across North America next summer, including here in the Bay Area, where 6 matches will be played at Levi Stadium in Santa Clara. A bit of good news for people who want to go to one of those matches. The cheapest tier of tickets is less than $150 right now.
Now, visiting soccer fans are expected to bring a boost to the local economy during the World Cup. Airbnb hosts are ready to cash in. The company says on average, hosts could earn $4,000 by renting out their homes during the tournament. Here in the Bay Area, it's a little lower. Hosts could earn on average about $3,000. That reduced estimate here likely reflects the fact that other World Cup cities, such as New York, Los Angeles, Atlanta, have the more high-profile matches during the tournament. More than 2 million people, though, are expected to travel to host cities next year.
I was going to say, we normally are more expensive, but I can see why, those other cities, you could charge a little bit more. Got any extra room, Sal, in your house?
Not me, but I have a friend who does this, who rents out their house. They kind of have a bigger house, and now they're empty nesters, so they kind of go and stay with friends or something, and they make a boatload.
They're going to make a deal. You're going to have to back the Brinks truck.
Exactly.
Up to their house.
Next time I go over to their house, I'm going to remind them of all this good money they're making.
I'm going to rent a tent.
Exactly.
I got to make something off of this deal.
Pretty good. All right. When these people get to the Bay Area, they're going to notice that we do have traffic. Not as bad as Los Angeles, but we have our own problem spots. Let's go to the Richmond Bridge. If you're driving over to Moraine, it's recovering from an earlier stalled truck there. If you're driving on the East Shore Freeway, it's pretty slow. And when you get to the Bay Bridge, from Oakland to San Francisco, it's a 25 to 30-minute delay. If you are driving in San Francisco, northbound 101 traffic looks okay. Coming up to the downtown area. And, the stadium's in Santa Clara, but a lot of people are going to be making that drive on 101 up to see San Francisco. So a lot of these soccer fans are going to get intimately related with Highway 101 slow traffic. 7:17. Let's bring Rosemary back in here.
All right, Sal, we're still talking about how we could, move out of our place and rent out our own places for the World Cup. It's going to be such an exciting time. Looking forward to it. Giving you a live look at also something exciting. The rain is on its way back. It's even falling over parts of Northern California already. A live look there over the skyline of Oakland. You can see the high clouds, those high clouds associated with the storm. That has help to offset the cold this morning. Now, with that said, it is still very chilly. I'll show you the numbers coming up, but not quite as cold as yesterday morning. And the fog, not quite as widespread, at least that patchy, dense fog. There's the rain. Areas of Lake County and Mendocino County already beginning to have the light scattered showers. Lake County reporting just a few 100ths of an inch in the last 6 hours or so over here near Canocti. But Lakeport, Cloverdale, and then into the North Bay, Sonoma County area, we've got Windsor, Guerneville, maybe a few sprinkles for you there. This system, the next 24 to 36 hours, is going to favor the North Bay and farther to the north. It's not going to be a lot. Central and South Bay could remain dry with this first round. Maybe a few passing showers tomorrow morning, but into the afternoon tomorrow, it is going to help knock out that fog. And for areas that have not seen the sunshine in weeks, finally going to get a break and see some sun tomorrow afternoon. We're mainly dry on Thursday. Next storm comes in on Friday, and right now, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday look soggy. If you have holiday plans, if you have holiday shopping, be prepared. Have the rain gear ready. Could see anywhere from 3 to 5 inches in our wetter spots in the North Bay and along the coastal range. Temperatures this morning, 47 to start your day in San Francisco, 43 in Concord. So it is chilly out there, but not quite as chilly. And our afternoon highs are coming up. Low 50s to low 60s for the afternoon today, even a little bit warmer Wednesday, Thursday. We are now into your weekend. Temperatures do cool just a little bit. And again, we've got rain here in the Bay Area. Very high elevation snow expected to remain above 7,000 feet in the Sierra. Back to you.
Thank you, Rosemary. Coming up at 7:20 here, a push to bring new life to Oakland's Jack London Square. How a change in Sacramento has business owners and city leaders hopeful about the future of the city's waterfront.
And a look at how several California prisons are turning to virtual reality to help give those who are incarcerated a plan for life beyond the bars. $7:23. Good morning to you. You're looking live at Santa Cruz. You can see that awesome glow of the sun getting ready to come out there in that part of the Bay Area. And we are looking forward to storms that are going to be moving into the Bay Area, mostly up to the North Bay, but we're going to have an update from Rosemary coming up in a few minutes on what it's going to be like for the rest of the day and throughout the rest of the week, too. All right, none of this, Napa County leaders are considering a new law that will allow tasting events at vineyards. The pilot program would run from January 1st to July 2027. Under the law, wineries would only need one permit from the State Department of Alcoholic Beverage Control to host tasting events. Supporters of the law say it will bring visitors closer to the farming and the production side of wine and revive wine tourism.
The Oakland City Council is set to vote today on expanding the use of license plate readers and surveillance cameras across the city. Last month, the City Council voted against the plan, but the police department is again proposing adding 40 more flock cameras to Oakland. Right now, there are 300 in use. Some residents say they're worried about the resulting data being shared with federal law enforcement agencies, including immigration officers. The police department says the data are not shared and that they help solve crimes. The Dublin City Council is set to vote today on a resolution that opposes the reopening of the women's prison as any kind of correctional facility. Earlier this month, the Bureau of Prisons sent a letter to the Dublin City Council saying the agency has no plans to reopen the prison, but it does plan to transfer it to the General Services Administration, which could then allow a private company to run it as a detention facility.
This is what happens with facilities before they get turned over to other federal agencies. And in most cases of immigration detention centers, it gets operated actually by a private company.
The prison was shut down a little more than a year ago following a sexual misconduct scandal that saw 10 correctional officers charged with sex crimes. More than 100 women won a $116 million lawsuit against the Bureau of Prisons.
Well, several prisons in California are using new technology to help prepare incarcerated men for life after prison. The program uses virtual reality headsets to show inmates life outside of prison walls. It allows those inmates to practice everyday tasks such as using an ATM, checking out at a grocery store, and peacefully resolving conflicts. It also helps inspire them to consider new possibilities by transporting them far beyond the prison gates.
Especially some of the youngsters, man, when they see it, they be like, man, it blows their mind. It's like, man, I want to go to Thailand. So, yeah, it's definitely aspirational. It definitely get these dudes just like wanting to see something different, do something different outside of themselves. A lot of these dudes don't get access to the world like that.
Well, the week-long program is organized by the Los Angeles-based nonprofit Creative Arts. It's currently being held at 4 California facilities with the hope to expand the program nationwide. 726 now, avoiding tariffs by staying local. The Northern California company that's been embracing the Christmas season for over 100 years and is now trying to come out a winner in the trade war.
And we have new details about the violent deaths of actor and director Rob Reiner and his wife in Los Angeles. Their son is under arrest for their killings, what police now say happened just before the attack.
Well, the carnage at Bondi Beach in Australia prompting the Jewish community to be bold about their heritage. We'll show you how they did just that in the South Bay. And empty businesses in Oakland's Jack London Square may soon start to fill. We'll talk live with an Oakland City Council member about efforts to fill those spaces and the challenges facing this neighborhood.
From KTVU Fox 2 News, this is Mornings on 2.
All right, it's 7:30. Welcome to Mornings on 2. I'm Andre Sr.
I'm Gassia Vikaeli, and it's a busy Tuesday, December 16th. In a minute, we're also going to talk about a controversial plan to bring surveillance cameras to Oakland. More of them. We're about to speak with Councilmember Janani Ramachandran in just a second here. There's a plan gathering against the cameras in the coming hours, and the council takes it up for consideration.
Yep.
Like we said, it's busy.
Busy.
Weather is also changing, and many of us are glad that it is, Rosemary.
Finally, after more than 3 weeks, guys, I think it's been 26 since we last saw rain in the Bay Area. Scattered showers are already falling over Lake County and farther north. For us, this first round will favor the North Bay. A beautiful view there of the sun now up and shining. Sun rose about 12 minutes ago. The high clouds there are associated with the system that we're talking about. So passing showers will be a possibility through tomorrow for the Central and South Bay, with light rain expected primarily over the North Bay. Now, as we adjust to this new pattern, we are waking up with temperatures slightly warmer than yesterday and not as much fog. A better look at the current conditions and what we can expect for today, as well as the days ahead, coming right up at 7:31. Let's first head over to Sal and check the very latest on the morning commute. Sal.
All right, Rosemary, things are improving a little on the Richmond Bridge. We had an earlier problem there on that Richmond Bridge. It was a stalled truck, and this morning's commute has been a little bit better since they removed it. We also have slow traffic there on 80 westbound. And we have a big backup at the Bay Bridge Toll Plaza. When we come back, we'll tell you a little more about some of the other Bay Area bridges, which are also crowded. 7:31, let's get back to the headlines.
Thank you, Sal. Let's get to some breaking news here in the city. Just learning in our newsroom that a large group of protesters has chained themselves together outside the Immigration and Customs Enforcement building in San Francisco's financial district. The protesters sent us these videos of the gathering. They say many in the group are faith leaders from across the Bay Area. Upon receiving this news, we did reach out to the San Francisco Police Department, ICE, and San Francisco Fire about the protest. We have yet to hear back from those agencies, but of course, we'll keep you posted on this breaking news in the city.
All right, now to this story here. Despite Australia's Bondi Beach attack happening at a menorah lighting, Jewish groups around the world say they will not allow it to stop them from observing Hanukkah this week. KTVU's Amanda Quintana is at Santana Row in San Jose, where it's a menorah was lit there for the second night of the Jewish holiday. Amanda.
Yes, well, families felt it was especially important to gather together, not just to celebrate that second day of Hanukkah last night, but also to mourn the Bondi Beach victims together. There was extra security here, but the sentiment was that the Jewish community is refusing to cower in fear. Rabbi Mendel Weinfeld of Chabad San Jose says his close friend, Dovi Straighten, was shot at Bondi Beach, but fortunately, he survived.
It was 5 minutes straight of shooting, and thank God he's all right. He's going to recover. Last night he sent me a video of him lighting the Hanukkah menorah on his 2 feet. Last night we had so many people that were here, and throughout the events of Hanukkah we're seeing a huge uptake in the amount of people that are coming out, because this is the Jewish response.
In the video, you can see the bullet wound on Straighten's back. San Jose has increased its police presence around Jewish places of worship, schools, and at events. The city has had its own share of anti-Semitism recently when the Branham High School students formed a human swastika on the football field and posted it online with a quote from Hitler. The school is investigating, and leaders were quick to condemn it. Mayor Matt Mahan says he wants Jewish neighbors to know that everyone in the city is standing with them in solidarity, and he hopes that seeing that extra police presence can help them feel safe. Live in San Jose, Amanda Quintana, KTVU Fox 2 News.
All right, Amanda, thank you so much. 7:34 is your time. Rob Reiner's son is expected in court this morning in connection with the death of his parents. Let's go to KTVU's Dave Clark in the newsroom with some of this morning's top stories. Dave?
Andre Garcia, good morning to you. Well, Los Angeles police have taken Nick Reiner into custody. They've accused him of killing his parents, actor-director Rob Reiner, and his wife, Michelle. The New York Times says as soon as today, the L.A. District Attorney could announce charges in the murder case. The bodies of Rob Reiner and his wife were found over the weekend in their Los Angeles home. Their son, Nick, is being held without bail. According to TMZ, Nick and his parents had a very loud argument Saturday night at the holiday party of comedian Conan O'Brien.
Something happened, though, where there was a big blowout argument, we have been told, between Rob, Michelle, and Nick, and it was so intense that they felt like they should leave the party.
Now, 32-year-old Nick Reiner has spoken publicly about his struggles with addiction, homelessness, and his difficult relationship with his parents. Rob Reiner was known as both an outspoken critic of President Trump and a powerful supporter of the Democratic Party, especially here in California. Reiner spent his entire adult life raising money for Democratic candidates in California. He was a vocal supporter of such critical state issues as same-sex marriage. And Reiner was a driving force behind the passage of Prop 10 in 1998. That ballot measure raised the state cigarette tax to fund early childhood development programs here in California.
They've served over 30 million children and raised more than $12 billion to support early childhood in California, and it's been an inspiration across the country for other governors in other states.
Rob Reiner was also a strong supporter of California's Governor Gavin Newsom, and most recently, Reiner reportedly was among the Hollywood celebrities who was urging Governor Newsom to run for president in 2028. I'm Dave Clark in the KTVU newsroom. Now let's go back to Garcia and Andre.
Dave, thank you. Oakland's Jack London Square has frequently struggled to find its footing over the past decades. While it is on prime waterfront property, the district has been plagued by empty storefronts and a lackluster foot traffic for years. Well, a new state law is set to go into effect in the new year, and it's expected to open the door to more types of businesses in Jack London Square. Let's welcome Oakland City Council member Janani Ramachandran to Mornings on 2 to discuss perhaps the future of just one of the crown jewels in Oakland's, citywide landscape. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you for having me. Now, like you phrased it, Jack London Square really is one of the jewels of Oakland. Gorgeous waterfront property, so much potential. Right. But one of the things that's limited that potential is a law called the Tidelands Trust. Right. And that's been around since 1852. So what the new law, SB 304, is doing is bringing the 1852 law into the 21st century to allow the port to develop more kinds of businesses. Because until then, really, the law says that businesses in Jack London Square have to be limited to fisheries, water-related commerce, and visitor services, not community services. Sort of like, that maritime thread had to run through everything that's happening in Jack London. This new SB 304 opens the door to, grocery stores, nail salons. What sort of businesses do you want to see in Jack London? I want to see a mix of services, something that, we don't want to become a sterile waterfront. We don't want to just become a Pier 39 and a tourist hub. We want to have that Oakland spice and that character still there. So a mixture of services for the 6,000 plus residents that actually live in Jack London Square, like the grocery stores, and also things like more retail, more commerce, office space. I mean, you have these buildings that are, the entire square is about 60% vacant. So I think the possibilities are endless, but what I really want to see at the end of the day with a mix of all of this is more foot traffic, more festivals, more people being outside, because that's going to liven things up. Because every time I go there and see these gorgeous sunsets by the water, I'm like, why aren't more people here? I know. I think the same thing. I was actually walking through Jack London the other day with friends, and we saw the sign for the new Dave & Buster's, right? We were actually walking to Plank to have lunch. So are you looking for more, entertainment-based, dining-based, or do we sort of need some of that bread and butter, like, maybe the nail salon I mentioned a minute ago? I think we need both. We need more entertainment and dining, but we also need things that cater to, the 6,000 residents nearby, but the entire city of Oakland. Okay. They should all be drawn to the water. We should all be drawn to the water for shopping, dining, having some retail electronics stores, art studios, yoga classes, dance classes, the kind of thing that make people want to come to a neighborhood and then hang out later. Bring a buzz. Are there any prospective tenants for Jack London that you know of? I know the port is working on having a number of meetings. Even though the law kicks off on January 1st, they've already started to set the stage for attracting a host of tenants. And, one thing that I do want to mention that I think will help be attractive to new businesses is a proposal that myself and my colleague, Councilmember Unger, put forward on the business tax incentive. So if this passes by voters next June, any new businesses of any size that come to any part of Oakland, including Jack London Square, will be able to get 1 to 3 years free of business license.
Okay, a bit of a tax break.
Yeah.
Let's focus a little bit more broadly here on Oakland. I should also note you do not represent Jack London. Your district is sort of straddling 13, a little bit higher in the hills, Diamond, Laurel. I was in Redwood Heights just the other day. OPD has yet to find a permanent police chief. There has been, and I don't need to tell you or my viewers, our viewers, a lot of turnover at that top spot in OPD. Do you think the next chief of Oakland Police should come from inside the department, or do we need fresh eyes?
Ooh, I don't want to venture into territory that I'm not allowed to in my role on council, but my sincere hope is that the next police chief that is chosen is someone that is local, that understands Oakland, and this is a hard job. And I really hope that whoever comes in next, whoever our police commission and then mayor selects, is going to be someone that's willing to fight it out for Oakland. Because currently we have a number of new leaders in Oakland, including our fire chief, who are really born and raised here, and people who are willing to put in the work despite how hard the job can be. So I really hope that the next chief comes from a local area, understanding the context, because the job is simply different in a place like Oakland compared to other parts of the country.
Public safety has been top of mind as long and even longer than we've been talking about Jack London sometimes struggling. There is a meeting coming up later today. City Council will once again reconsider the idea of placing more flock surveillance cameras around the city. Where do you stand on that idea?
Yeah, this is a really tough issue. Originally, the flock cameras were given to us by Highway Patrol, and Governor Newsom was involved, and there has been a lot of success in the cameras in interrupting crime and in really providing a perspective that we need given our lack of officers. Operationally, we have barely over 500 and something officers on the ground at any moment, so having technology there is something that is to be considered. However, I think it is really important that we put in strong privacy safeguards. And let me tell you, what sanctuary cities like Oakland have and the safeguards we already have are very different from cities across the country where you're hearing snafus around flock cameras and other surveillance cameras. We proudly do not share information with ICE and other federal agencies. And I think some of the proposals that's going to come later today strengthens those privacy concerns even more. So I look forward to seeing how strong we can make it, like other cities like San Francisco and others who have adopted it with really strong privacy protections.
I'm sure what will come up in today's meeting is the fact that the Supreme Court up in Washington State recently ruled that the data coming from surveillance cameras is public record and therefore accessible by anyone. I was at the Trader Joe's on Lakeshore this past Saturday, and I was asked to sign a petition to, and I'll use their phrase, get the flock out of Oakland. So it is very much on the minds of people in your district across the city and beyond. Well, Janani Ramachandran, I appreciate your joining us in studio this morning.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. All right, let's see what's happening when it comes to traffic in, out, and around Oakland. Hi, Sal.
Good morning, Garcia. And right now we do have a bigger backup getting out of Oakland, trying to get over to San Francisco. It is backed up beyond the maze here, so at least a 30-minute delay, maybe a little more. And once you get to San Francisco, it's moderately heavy. We don't have a lot going on. If you're driving in San Jose, all of a sudden we have a lot of slow traffic everywhere on San Jose freeways, 101, 85. At the very least, today is better getting to the airport than it was yesterday. Northbound 101 at 237, there was a crash there. It's affecting both 101 and 237. 7:43, let's go back to the desk.
All right, this is one of those we didn't need a study to tell us.
Nope.
But the CDC says too much screen time may lead to poor sleep, anxiety, and a range of other health issues. Now, some guardians are worried about the type of content their children are consuming and wondering how much screen time is harmful.
Yes, we'll talk more about that in just a few minutes. But for now, we want to hear from you. We're asking, do you spend most of your time on your device? Your options are social media, gaming, watching videos, or web browsing. So which is it? Where do you spend most of your time on your device? Right now, 56% of you say watching videos, guilty of that. 22% of you say social media, 11% gaming, and 11% web browsing. Just go to KTVU.com/vote. Let us know what you think about our question of the day.
You know what I just realized? I think your phone gives you a report card.
So every Sunday, I get it.
And it shames you, and it tells you how many hours you spent and how you spent that valuable time.
You want to share yours? What do you got?
I don't, but
I guarantee mine is worse than yours. Yeah.
Okay, well,
you keep busy with other things.
I don't do the gaming. I do the other stuff. We appreciate. Oh, look, you guys are weighing in. Good. We don't feel so bad now. We see the numbers change as you weigh in. There's the QR code at the top right of your screen. We will keep checking your responses through the morning here. Stay with us on Mornings on 2. Some of the stories we're following here at 7:47. Australians lit a menorah earlier today at the memorial site for the victims of the Bondi Beach shooting. Crowds grieved, left messages of condolence and laid flowers Tuesday for the 15 people killed in a mass shooting attack at a Hanukkah celebration. Those ranged in age from 10 to 87 years old. A man accused of stabbing and killing a social worker at San Francisco General Hospital is expected in court today for the first time. Wilfredo Tortolero Arichi missed a court appearance last week because he was still in the hospital. Police allege he stabbed and killed a social worker nearly 2 weeks ago. Hospital workers now calling for better security at that facility. A new look at jobs here doesn't paint an optimistic picture of the economy. Our Pam Cook back in studio with a look at these reports and also, Pam, reaction on Wall Street in dollars and cents.
Yes, and it's been kind of fluctuating. The delayed reports for October and November were just released this morning. They were delayed because of the government shutdown. The number of jobs dropped in October and was only slightly higher than expected in November. Also, the unemployment rate increased more than expected with those two reports. On the news, shortly after the opening bell rang this morning, all three indexes dropped quite a bit, actually. This morning, we talked with financial advisor Chris Markowski, who said he talks with small business owners across the country, and they are not feeling optimistic about the current economy. Consumers have not been feeling very optimistic about the current economy as well. But as we take a live look at the numbers, they're all still down, but they've come back a little bit in the last hour. The Dow Jones down about 0.25%, about 127 points or so. The S&P 500 down 0.33%. And the NASDAQ dropping a little bit this morning as well. Ford reports its pullback from electric vehicles will cost the automaker billions of dollars. Ford announced it will rack up $19.5 billion in special charges, and it will affect the company's net results for the current quarter and the year. Ford is shifting its renewable energy policy by refocusing more investments on hybrids and pulling back from pure EVs. Ford is also canceling the production of its next generation of large electric trucks in exchange for smaller, more affordable EVs. A new report shows the use of artificial intelligence in the American workplace is skyrocketing. According to a new Gallup poll, nearly half of U.S. workers are now using AI tools in their daily work. The 40 to 45% spike went up between the second and third quarters of this year and is mostly visible in the tech and finance industries and not in as much in retail and healthcare jobs. A family-owned business in the North Bay stands out as one of the few in the U.S. still producing artificial Christmas trees. The Fairfield-based company continues a 100-year tradition, making about 10,000 trees each year and avoiding those steep import costs. The local production method has shielded the company from the tariffs that have recently impacted the industry.
I don't think there's many other companies that manufacture tinsel or garland in the U.S. It's all manufactured overseas. This year, we haven't really imported anything from China due to the tariffs and high fees.
It's quite a statement for a local company. However, other large tree sellers say they are unlikely to shift production back to the U.S. due to high labor costs and the extensive, tedious work required to make artificial trees. I'm Pam Cook. That's a look at your dollars and cents.
Pam, thank you. 7:51. I think we're probably approaching or maybe right in the heat of the morning commute, according to our Sal Castaneda. Sal, what do you see out there?
Yeah, we are at the height in some areas, Gassia. You're absolutely right. Other areas have already begun to clear up a little bit. Let's go right to the Bay Bridge. No clearing there yet, but the backup is still 25 to 30 minutes. It's looking a little better, though, than it did. You can see 880 southbound slow from Hayward to Fremont. We had a couple of earlier problems. Southbound 680 is slow through the Sunol grade. 7:51. I hear it might rain this weekend. Let's go to Rosemary.
Yes, good morning to you, Sal. We do have changes underway, and I am happy to report rain falling over parts of the North Bay and into Lake County at this hour. This first round is really going to favor that spot. Areas near central and southern ports of the Bay Area could remain mainly dry, but we do have more on the way. Here's a view up above the Calaveras Reservoir area. Those high clouds are associated with the system that is providing the wet weather to northern California. If we squeeze in closer here, Lake County seeing some light rain down to about Windsor, Santa Rosa, perhaps a few sprinkles for you there. rolling through the next 24 hours, just light passing showers for the Central and South Bay. The next system, though, is going to be a soaker, and it looks like it's going to last most of the entire weekend. Here is a look at 1 o'clock this afternoon, where we've got light rain falling all the way down to about Santa Rosa. May have a little bit of drizzle out there as well. Tomorrow morning, passing showers, perhaps on the morning commute. The snow levels are going to remain high for this year. There are no advisories for travel, expected to remain above 7,000 feet, maybe even 7,500 feet. Tomorrow afternoon, the system moves out, and we will have partly cloudy skies and dry conditions for the second half of your Wednesday. For some, this could be the first time you see a whole lot of sunshine in weeks. Let's push you out all the way to the end of the weekend, where that second round of rain coming in, it looks like by Friday night, lasting into Sunday, is going to bring us a good amount of rain, especially over the North Bay. We'll be watching and fine-tuning as we get closer on that. Meanwhile, outside our doors at this hour, it's a chilly one, but not quite as cold as yesterday. We are up by at least a few degrees. 48 right now, San Francisco, 52 at Half Moon Bay. And for the afternoon, our temperatures are going to be a little bit warmer, ranging from low 50s to low 60s. Still very cool, but not quite as cold. The extended forecast temperatures will bump up a little bit more Wednesday, Thursday, cool off a bit with the next storm that, again, arrives Friday night into Sunday. Andre.
All right, Rosemary, thank you so much. Child care centers losing staff at record levels. Next at 8, the concerns sparking anxiety that now have many teachers leaving the field. And a parking perk in Oakland is going away, while it'll cost you more to shop downtown on the weekends, and why some businesses are not happy about the arrangement. Time now 7:56. Starting in January, Oakland will charge drivers for parking on city streets on Sundays. Payments could be required noon and 6 o'clock. In between those times, the city hopes more parking spaces will open up in high traffic areas and will help increase the flow of people through restaurants, shops, and entertainment venues. But some businesses and shoppers are questioning that change because they say the current free Sunday parking is attracting visitors.
With charging me parking, why am I going to come? That's more money out of my pocket.
I feel like it's punishing small businesses. We're struggling, and we don't need that in Jack London. It's been working fine. They should probably find another area to do.
Oakland's Transportation Department issued a response. It says, quote, "This change will improve parking availability for everyone and provide better access to the spaces that make Oakland great. Our business community will also benefit from Sunday metering because it encourages parking turnover, allowing more customers to visit these establishments." Now, the city will start issuing fines after a month-long warning period. Well, the injury bug once again strikes 49ers receiver Ricky Pearsall. On Sunday, he turned in one of his best performances in months. He caught 6 passes for 96 yards against the Tennessee Titans. But Pearsall entered the game with ankle and knee injuries and re-aggravated both. He hurt his ankle on the first play from scrimmage and hurt his knee late in the fourth quarter.
He was able to get through the game. Is somewhat encouraging. I mean, that shouldn't rule him out for this week, but that combined with the knee, I mean, he aggravated it, which is something, it's the same thing you guys would see with Mac.
Well, earlier this season, quarterback Mac Jones played with a heavy brace to protect from further aggravating a ligament injury in his knee. But Pearsall's position is different, and it's doubtful that he can still run and play wide receiver with a bulky brace. The Niners can lock up a playoff berth next Monday night if they beat the Indianapolis Colts. Well, police in the Sierra Foothills found an unexpected holiday surprise near a high school over the weekend. 29 jars filled with marijuana were placed next to a sign advertising Placer High School's Christmas tree sale. It was next to a sign reading "Merry Christmas, free weed, organic and cage-free." The marijuana was confiscated by Auburn police. The odd holiday gift has the community wondering who was involved. Police said the marijuana is being disposed of, and they're still investigating the incident.
We have new details about a man accused of killing coach John Beam in Oakland as he gets ready to face a judge this morning. Why prosecutors say what he did right before the attack should close the door on any questions about whether he knew what he was doing then.
We have plainclothes officers and uniformed officers, and we're here to care for the community and keep you safe.
Bay Area police working to reassure residents, questioning whether it is safe to be out and about during the holidays following a mass shooting at a Hanukkah celebration in Australia. Then immigration policies reshaping California's child care industry. A close look into what's driving thousands of workers out of that field.
From KTVU Fox 2 News, this is Mornings on 2.
Good morning and welcome back. A gorgeous live look outside your window. Perhaps you're not lucky enough to live out on the coast and you're inland and seeing still some fog. It's a very, very busy Tuesday morning. We are glad that you're with us, and there are changes in the forecast. I'm Gassia Mikaelian.
I'm Andre Sr. It is Tuesday, December 16th. We're still dealing with fog, and we've got that change in the forecast coming our way. Will it be a soaker or super soaker? Meteorologist Rosemary Ruska is here with more on that. Rosemary.
I am happy to report that the change is already underway, Andre and Gassia, and the wet super soaker expected on the weekend. This first round just going to kind of prime things. We've got cloudy, cool conditions out there, but not quite as cloudy when it comes to the patchy dense fog, and not quite as cold. Now, with that said, you'll still need to bundle up heading out the door. 41 degrees right now in Livermore, 47 in San Jose, but most spots at least a few degrees warmer compared to yesterday, and Half Moon Bay up by about 9 degrees this morning. Passing showers will be with us over the next 24 to 36 hours. It does favor the North Bay, but this is just the beginning. A better look at what we can expect for today, as well as the rest of the week, and when that bigger storm is expected to arrive coming up at 8:01. Let's get onto the highways and see how they're shaping up with Sal. Good morning.
Rosemary, good morning to you. It's getting a little better out there, I would say. 80 westbound, let's start there. The East Shore Freeway from San Pablo to Oakland. Things are lightening up a little bit. It's still crowded at the Bay Bridge, for example, still backed up from beyond the maze, but things are moving a little bit more efficiently. And you can see the general commute is getting better, but we still have a lot of slowdowns in many spots. 8:01, let's get back to the headlines.
All right, thank you so much, Sal. Developing this morning, a group of people from Bay Area faith communities are chained themselves to the two main entrances of San Francisco's ICE office. They're protesting the wrongful detainment of immigrants during their scheduled check-ins. Between May and October of this year, ICE arrested over 120 people at the San Francisco ICE office and immigration court. The protesters are calling on elected officials and all people of faith to stand against illegal immigration enforcement tactics.
In about an hour here, a gunman accused of killing Laney College athletic director John Beam is set to enter a plea. The court continues to monitor his mental state to see if he's fit to stand trial.
KTVU's James Torres is live in Oakland with why prosecutors are pushing to prove the suspect knew exactly what he was doing. James.
Good morning, Andre Garcia. We are just across the street from the courthouse here in Oakland, where we expect that suspect to be in front of a judge again, entering a plea. And we know that for the most part, this case isn't going to go to trial for quite a long time. But in the meantime, prosecutors will be building this case to try to prove that the gunman very much had this attack fully planned out. Cedric Irving Jr., he is now facing murder charges in the killing of longtime Laney athletic director and longtime Oakland football coach John Beam. Police say Irving walked onto Laney College's campus, confronted Beam, shot and killed him. Court documents revealed Irving feared Beam was, quote, using witchcraft to haunt his dreams and mess with his body. Defense attorneys will look at the state of Irving's mental health, but prosecutors say Irving signed the proper paperwork to buy the gun legally that he used in the attack. The state did a background check and he had no criminal history, and he even waited the mandatory 10-day minimum waiting period before picking up the weapon to use it about a week later.
What he did in this case looks more like planning than mental chaos. Voodoo made me did it. I don't know a juror in Alameda County that's going to believe that story.
We reached out to the shop that sold Irving the gun. Owners there declined to offer a comment. Irving, we know, is held without bond at Santa Rita Jail. His court hearing is set to begin in just less than an hour from now. Of course, we will bring you updates as soon as they come. We're live this morning in Oakland. I'm James Torres, KTVU, Fox 2 News.
James, thank you. 8:04 your time. Investigators releasing new details about the gunman in the attack at Australia's Bondi Beach. Police say the father and son who carried out the attack were motivated by Islamic State ideology. Both gunmen killed at least 15 people and injured more than a dozen others. Police say the 50-year-old father was shot and killed by police, while his 24-year-old son remains hospitalized for his injuries.
Early indications point to a terrorist attack inspired by Islamic State, allegedly committed by a father and son.
The vehicle, which is registered to the younger male, contained IEDs, but I also confirmed that it contained 2 homemade ISIS flags.
There are 25 people still being treated in hospitals, 10 of them in critical condition. This marked the country's worst mass shooting in almost 50 years.
That attack in Australia has law enforcement agencies around the world increasing safety measures at places of worship and other gatherings. The San Francisco Police Department and Sheriff's Office are increasing patrols at Hanukkah celebrations throughout the city. More officers were present at last night's menorah lighting in the Castro. City leaders also attended the event and encouraged people to continue their holiday traditions while looking out for each other.
You can't help but think about what's going on in other parts of the world and in our country and feel like, oh, you know, what if it could happen here? But I really believe in our city.
And I want people to celebrate Christmas coming up. I want us to celebrate New Year's. But as it relates to this holiday, this is where we get to shine a light.
Despite the safety concerns, business owners tell the Merchants Association in the Castro they're seeing a lot of foot traffic and are optimistic heading into the rest of the holiday season.
Secretary of State Marco Rubio and Secretary of War Pete Hegseth are on Capitol Hill this morning, briefing congressional members about the airstrikes on boats near Venezuela. Congress is looking into the military strikes, and specifically one in early September when the U.S. fired on a ship and 2 people who survived. The U.S. then ordered a second strike to kill the survivors. U.S. officials announced last night it fired upon 3 more boats that were suspected of smuggling drugs in the eastern Pacific Ocean. 8 people were killed.
The Trump administration's immigration policies have prompted tens of thousands of childcare workers to leave their jobs. A new report by a left-leaning think tank says since President Trump took office, the number of immigrants working in the field of childcare has dropped by 39,000. In California, childcare facilities have experienced months of increased absences among staff and students. Many immigrant child care workers say the new crackdown makes them anxious even if they're legally authorized to work. According to a UC Berkeley study, about 40% of child care workers in our state were born outside the U.S.
It is coming up at 8:07. An alarming new report has found strip searches at America's schools are traumatizing students. The study found most of these searches are in response to minor non-violent incidents. Bloomberg reports strip searches at U.S. schools have resulted in at least 40 federal lawsuits since 2017. But researchers say that's only a small fraction of these searches, which often involve teachers, administrators, or security guards. The report links this increase to the rising number of school shootings. That is the unexpected departures of two high-ranking members of the Oakland Unified School District. The Chronicle reports Oakland Unified's Chief of Staff and Chief Business Officer have left. Chief Business Officer Lisa Grant Dawson says she submitted her resignation last week. Chief of Staff Dan Bellino says he was fired last week. This comes as Oakland Unified faces a massive budget crisis. The school board vice president says the interim superintendent is developing her own leadership team to move forward.
Investigators are working to learn what caused a cable car in San Francisco to stop abruptly, sending more than a dozen people to the hospital. This happened around 3:15 yesterday afternoon on California Street between Leavenworth and Hyde near Nob Hill. 13 people were taken to a hospital after the cable car came to a sudden stop. Firefighters say most of the riders on board suffered minor to moderate injuries.
There appears to be no other vehicle that was involved in this incident here. And like I said, it's on their investigation as to what actually happened.
Muni paused cable car service on California Street for the rest of the day, but this morning service is back up and running.
Time is 8:08. Let's check in with the Richmond Bridge. We have a big improvement here. Earlier, we had a stalled truck, and that really backed traffic up earlier in the morning. Now that's been gone for about an hour, and things are much better. Things are improving here on the East Shore Freeway and at the Bay Bridge. I do see some flashing lights. It doesn't appear to be affecting much. And if you see the East Bay commute, it's pretty slow in Oakland, northbound 880 out of San Leandro heading up to downtown. 8:09, let's go back to the desk.
Thank you, Sal. Coming up, a new push to revitalize Oakland's Jack London Square. Why one city council member says the goal here is not to copy one of San Francisco's top tourist destinations, and how a new law opens the door to changes. Plus,
just heard a big bang, shook the building, and really, I didn't think much of it.
What investigators are saying about an underground gas tank that caught fire in San Francisco.
Jacoby & Myers has been a proud part of the California community since 1972. We've stood by our neighbors, helping hundreds of thousands of families get the justice they deserve. Whether it's fighting insurance companies or fighting for you in court, we'll stand up for you. At Jacoby & Myers, we know the stakes: your family, your health, your future. For over 50 years, we've been California's trusted name in legal care. If you've been injured, call us today at 1-800-5-MILLION, because you deserve justice.
It is almost 8:13. Some of the stories we're following for you this morning. A memorial starting to take shape on the Hollywood Walk of Fame for director Rob Reiner and his wife, who were found dead inside their Los Angeles home Sunday. Their son, Nick Reiner, is in custody on suspicion of killing them. The 32-year-old is being held without bond. Rhode Island authorities are hoping a just-released video will lead to an arrest in this weekend's mass shooting at Brown University. The video from hours before that shooting shows a possible suspect wearing a mask and hat walking down a street in Providence. Authorities describe the person seen in the video as a stocky man about 5 feet 8 inches tall.
The Oakland City Council is set to vote today on expanding the use of license plate readers and surveillance cameras across the city. Last month, the City Council voted against the plan, but the police department is again proposing adding 40 more flock cameras. Right now, there are 300 in use. Some residents, though, say they're worried about the resulting data being shared with federal law enforcement agencies, including immigration officers. The police department says the data are not shared and that the information helps them solve crimes.
Well, San Francisco firefighters say there are no reports of injuries from an explosion and fire at a Mission District gas station. It happened shortly after 4:30 yesterday afternoon at a Shell near the corner of 16th and Guerrero Streets. That blast sent a huge plume of black smoke into the air and forced the evacuation of several nearby buildings. Firefighters say the explosion happened while crews were removing a fuel tank at the gas station.
An excavator hit one of the tanks, and we had some backup fuel flow into the lines, and the spark caused the fire. And we were able to evacuate the building next door, strike a full box response, and extinguish the fire using foam.
Firefighters remained on scene for several hours last night to make sure there were no flare-ups. The department is now leading the investigation into the cause of the explosion. Last week's gas pipeline explosion in a neighborhood near Hayward will take center stage at today's Alameda County Board of Supervisors meeting. Many who live on East Llewellyn Boulevard plan to attend to express their safety concerns following that blast. The NTSB says the gas pipeline was damaged during an ongoing road improvement project. One neighbor says she has been complaining about this project for months.
When the explosion happened, I was in the backyard. I know it's gas pipe. I was so shocking. Before the Thanksgiving, I deal with the flooding. My crawl space basement flooding. Now it's molding.
Investigators say 6 people were injured in that blast, including 3 PG&E workers, 3 buildings destroyed. NTSB officials expected on scene all this week, working to determine the cause.
A new law goes into effect in the new year that could mean big changes to Oakland's Jack London Square. Starting in January, a wider range of businesses will be allowed to operate in that waterfront district. Previously, the area was required to serve the maritime businesses and cater to visitors instead of residents. More than half the commercial space in Jack London is vacant right now. The area has struggled for decades to find its footing. One city council member welcomes the change.
Want to just become a Pier 39 and a tourist hub. We want to have that Oakland spice and that character still there. So a mixture of services for the 6,000 plus residents that actually live in Jack London Square, like the grocery stores, and also things like more retail, more commerce, office space.
The new law, SB 304, allows a broader mix of commercial, cultural, and recreational uses. Its author says more foot traffic will also help improve public safety.
It's 8:16, and we do see a lot of slow traffic trying to get to Oakland and also heading south into San Jose. Hayward to Union City, that's nothing unusual, so you can see a lot of slow traffic there. I will say that things are beginning to loosen up a little bit on the Richmond Bridge, on 80, and by the way, on Interstate 80, eastbound today, we do have new express lanes open for full tolling today, December 16th, 5 a.m. to 8 p.m. between Fairfield and Vacaville on 80. Watch out for the signs. Don't get an expensive ticket. You can see at the Bay Bridge Toll Plaza, we're still kind of jammed here to the maze. 8:17. What about today's weather? Here's Rosemary.
Oh, we are looking at improvements, Sal. A number of them, starting with this beautiful view here I have over the Oakland estuary. Just enjoying the cloud cover there. We do have mostly cloudy skies, but it is not the very patchy, thick, close to the ground fog that we've been seeing. day after day after day. There is no advisory for patchy dense fog. You may find a little bit through the Delta region as well as heading out towards the Sacramento-San Joaquin Valley. But most of us, partly sunny, mostly cloudy, and a few scattered showers falling over Lake County area, Mendocino area, down to about Windsor, a few sprinkles here. We are favoring the North Bay with this system. The rounds of rain likely to be north of the Golden Gate, north of I-80. Tomorrow morning, we may see a light to passing shower over the rest of the Bay Area, but it's not going to really be a whole lot. We are just on the southern edge of this, but we have more to come. So do expect a rainy weekend. I'll show you that in the extended forecast. Here's a look at the afternoon where, again, a lot of cloud cover out there. Few passing showers. Can't rule out that possibility, but it doesn't look like much. Tomorrow morning, we start out mostly cloudy, light showers on their way out, and then by the afternoon, partly cloudy skies, dry conditions for your Wednesday. Areas that haven't seen sunshine in weeks are going to get a sunny afternoon. Here's a look at what we expect as we roll through. It says now midnight, Sunday into Monday, but anywhere from 3 to 5 inches, a possibility in our North Bay. Projections for San Francisco, more than 3 inches. Farther south you go, the lesser amounts, but the takeaway here is we've got a bigger storm coming our way, and right now, Friday, Saturday, Sunday look to be the days. Outside our doors, it's a chilly start, but not quite as cold as we were yesterday. 48 in San Francisco, 42 in Livermore, so you're still going to need the thicker coat. Afternoon highs are coming up as well, low 50s to low 60s across the region, and your extended forecast, even a tad warmer Wednesday, Thursday. Mainly dry on Thursday as well. Rain developing late in the afternoon. Right now, at least that's the case, what we're seeing at this hour. But the weekend looks fairly soggy, and I will point out winter solstice arrives on Sunday morning. Back to you.
All right, Rosemary, thank you much. That comfortable sleep habit might be doing more harm than good. Why doctors say the wrong sleep posture could be silently affecting your nerves and even digestion.
And like falling asleep with your phone in your hand.
Yeah, that too.
Probably doesn't help. All right, the CDC says too much screen time leads to poor sleep, anxiety, other health issues. Now some guardians worried about the type of content their children are consuming and also looking at how many hours they're racking up on their devices. We'll go deeper into this in a second, but first we've been asking, and you have been telling us, where do you spend most of your time when you're on your device? Almost half of you say you're on social media. The next 3 groups almost evenly split, with web browsing inching out watching videos and gaming just by a hair. We'll keep watching those numbers as you make them change. We appreciate your scanning the QR code at the top right or swinging out to ktv.com/vote to let us know what you're doing on your device. We'll be back.
All right, 8:23 now. The way you drift off to sleep each night may cause serious health symptoms that go beyond aches and pains. According to medical experts, your preferred sleeping posture could be silently triggering issues like acid reflux. Certain habits may also negatively impact nerve health, leading to numbness and chronic pain over time. Now, earlier on Mornings on 2, Dr. Mike joined the show to explain how our sleep positions can trigger these symptoms.
All we do is talk about how much sleep we get or how lack of sleep we get. The bottom line is that it's also how you sleep, the position. So number one, you want to, most experts say you want to sleep on your side with a thin pillow so you don't kink your neck, and bend your knees slightly with a pillow in between. If you do that, you're going to wake up hopefully without any neck pain, back pain, and no numb arms.
I'm taking notes, Dr. Mike. He also warns that the wrong position could also be keeping you from achieving that deep, restorative sleep that you need. All right, economists weigh in on the latest jobs report and what it says about the U.S. economy.
Pam Cook back in studio with this and what some consider surprising news about the NASDAQ in dollars and cents.
It's very interesting. The NASDAQ wants to be open almost 24 hours a day. Plans to be open 23 hours a day with 1 hour for maintenance of the system, the trading system. It has reportedly filed paperwork with the SEC. Money managers are weighing in, many calling this the impact on trading in the market, similar to 24-hour gambling at a casino, as people could be moving the markets while most of us are asleep, and maybe not healthy for a lot of people to have access to the markets. Shortly after the opening bell rang this morning, all three indexes dropped on fresh news about the job market. We'll talk more in detail about that in just a moment. First, as we take a live look at the numbers, initially they did head lower, fluctuated in the last hour, but then you can see headed back down. The Dow Jones now down almost 0.5%, 238 points. The S&P 500 and the NASDAQ have slipped a little bit in the last hour as well, as this does paint pretty negative picture about the economy. Now, today's labor report shows mixed news. Economists say the 64,000 jobs added in November is okay, but the 105,000 lost in October and the increase in the unemployment number does not paint an optimistic picture of the economy and jobs.
And I've kind of taken the government numbers and I've kind of just washed my hands. I look a little bit more at ADP numbers. I take a look at what the overall hiring is for major corporations, where the layoffs are coming. And I also talk to small business owners. And it's anecdotal, but my company, I deal with small business owners all over the country, and that's the real jobs engine.
That's financial advisor Chris Markowski. We spoke to him this morning. He says he is focused on those small businesses that are 5 years or younger. And he says he talks to those business owners regularly, and they are cautious because they are uncertain about the economic future. An investor group is buying California Pizza Kitchen 5 years after the chain filed for bankruptcy during the pandemic. The CEO of Convive Brands, John Weber, is also going to become the CEO of the chain's restaurant division. The current president of CPK will lead the company's consumer packaged goods division. They do have those frozen pizzas and stuff in the aisles. An investor group from Consortium Brand Partners purchased the pizza chain. The new owners do plan to expand in the U.S. and internationally, so we might see some more California Pizza Kitchens pop up. PayPal has formally applied to become an official bank. The company behind a global online payment system and digital wallet says this move will provide better service for its customers, especially those small businesses. PayPal says becoming a bank would allow it to legally hold deposits while funding loans more efficiently, and it would reduce its reliance on what it calls costly third-party banks. Federal regulators would have to approve PayPal's proposal to the entire banking industry. I'm Pam Cook. That's Look at Your Dollars and Cents.
We'll keep an eye on Pam. Thank you so much. All right, 8:27 now from Bondi Beach to San Jose. Why Jewish communities say fear will not silence Hanukkah celebrations.
A vote today in Dublin, the move by city leaders there to block any return of the women's prison, even as federal plans are raising new questions.
Now at 8:30, we hear from San Francisco educators and community leaders on how they are working to protect immigrant kids and their families. And a desperate need for donations in the South Bay. A live look at all those toys, but more is needed. Sacred Heart getting ready to host its annual toy drive. A report on the request to bring joy to youth in the South Bay.
From KTVU Fox 2 News, this is Mornings on 2.
Good morning and welcome back. I'm Gassia Mikaelian.
I'm Andre Sr. It is Tuesday, December 16th. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. We have overcast skies, as you can see here along the Oakland estuary this morning. Let's check in with meteorologist Rosemary Orisco for a look at the forecast for today. Rosemary?
Yes, good morning to both of you. It is cloudy, it is cool out there, but not quite as cold as yesterday morning. And the fog not as thick and close to the ground. No advisory for patchy dense fog. We will have the possibility of wet weather in the forecast. It favors the North Bay. What a beautiful shot there. Those high clouds are associated with the system I'm talking about, ranging from 41 degrees in Livermore at this hour to 45 in San Francisco. Low 50s reported along our coastline at Half Moon Bay. And for the afternoon, our temperatures will also be coming up. Going to be a cool day, but not quite as cold, with passing showers to the north of us and a chance for passing showers Central and South Bay getting into Wednesday. Better details on today, tomorrow, and what we can expect for the rest of the week coming up at 8:32. The highways have been improving. Let's see if that's still the case. Good morning, Sal.
Yeah, they are improving a little bit there, Rosemary. Let's go right to the Bay Bridge. We're going to start with the Richmond Bridge here. And you can see traffic is going to be okay. Well, if you're driving out to Marin County, it does get a little bit slow when you get there. Bay Bridge has not improved a lot. It's still backed up solid beyond the maze. And the San Mateo Bridge is busy, but it's improving. 8:32, let's get back to the headlines.
Thank you, Sal. A South Bay nonprofit is collecting donations for its annual toy distribution program.
The Sacred Heart giveaway begins tomorrow, and with less than 100 days until Christmas, organizations are scrambling to make sure every child has a gift this year. KTVU's Amanda Quintana is live in San Jose. And Amanda, viewers can help this nonprofit that's facing a toy shortage.
Yes, that is right. So this toy giveaway starts tomorrow for pre-registered families, but the issue is that there are not enough toys. So I am joined now by Damone Carter. Tell me, what you guys really need. What kind of help can people give?
So like you said, tomorrow our toy drive starts. We're hoping to get 18,000 toys out to about 5,000 families who have registered. And right now we're about 3,500 toys short. So we're asking community members if they can bring new unwrapped toys to our 1381 South 1st Street location here in San Jose over the next couple of days, so we can hopefully meet that 18,000 number and make sure that every family has an ample choice of toys.
Can you talk a little bit about the families that register for this? I think it's important to note some of these kids might not get gifts if they didn't have this opportunity.
Well, as a parent, I know the pressure of having to provide a happy Christmas and get gifts for all of your kids. It can really make a financial strain on families, especially families that are already experiencing poverty. And so what we hope to do with this program is just alleviate a little bit of that stress and then make it so that families can use those dollars elsewhere.
And so are there specific toys that you need? Because I know you kind of organize the room here, so it's for different ages.
Yeah, our greatest need always is toys for teens and preteens. So this is stuff like phone accessories, hair things, makeup, sporting equipment. As you can see, folks like to bring a lot of toys for the smaller kids, but we just ask folks remember that we serve teens up to 17.
And then they can bring the toys or monetary donation. Is there one that is more helpful, I guess?
Whatever folks can spare, we really appreciate it. And you can go to sacredheartcs.org for information on how to drop off a toy or make a monetary donation. This program depends on the generosity of the community, and this is our 61st year. We're confident that the community is going to come through.
Yeah. And there only are 3 days of this giveaway, so it's important for people to know if you can donate to do it quickly, correct?
Yeah, we'll be taking donations today and tomorrow until 4 and on Friday until noon.
All right. We will have that information on our website as well. But for now, live in San Jose, Amanda Quintana, KTVU Fox 2 News.
Amanda, as students in San Francisco Unified are counting down the days till school is out for the winter holidays, immigrant parents and others in the district are likely welcoming the break, not just from school, but the uncertainty that can come when they're away from their children. For weeks, as you know, San Francisco Unified has been working to reassure its community that children are safe at school and that federal immigration officers are not allowed on campus. All this comes amid persistent fears of deportation for those who are in the country illegally. Let's welcome to Mornings on 2 Jerry Almanza, treasurer of United Educators of San Francisco, and Matt Alexander with Faith in Action Bay Area. You're also a member of the San Francisco Board of Education. 20 years, 30 years working in San Francisco schools. First of all, kudos and thank you to the both of you. I imagine when you started your careers, you never imagined being in a place like this, Jerry.
I mean, of course not, but I am a bilingual elementary school teacher, so I do work with a large population of Latino students, and so, we're there. I'm glad I'm at that school, so that I understand the experience.
So 33% of students in San Francisco Unified are Latino, 31% are Asian. San Francisco as a city is a city of immigrants. Can you tell me, Matt, what's happening in the schools as it relates to kind of the federal immigration picture?
Yeah, well, there is a lot of fear right now, and people are facing this system that even people that are, many of them are legally seeking asylum, and but the system just doesn't provide due process, and so there's so much fear. I think in San Francisco we've done a really good job of creating a sense of safety in the schools, but there's still a lot of fear from the federal threat.
Jerry, is the district doing enough? The district itself?
Unfortunately, the educators and school administration are having to ensure that families and students are assured that they do have a safe school and that they do have safety plans in place to ensure that families understand how to make a family emergency plan, to ensure that the school has a safe schools committee that can initiate and trigger any kind of emergency response if necessary. And so that is work that our educators and our site administrators are kind of taking on as individuals and kind of working a little bit extra to make sure that our students are safe.
A little bit, or what I'm guessing is a lot extra. Matt, back to you. You were a longtime high school principal and high school teacher. My question is about teenagers in particular.
Yeah.
Many of them walk to and from school, might kind of, they have their freedom. They want their freedom. We should let them have it. Let's talk about this idea of providing safe passage to and from school. San Francisco Unified has said federal immigration agents not allowed on campus go to the main office. A lot of parents are worried about what about if my kid goes to the corner store, hangs out with friends, kind of flesh out that concern for me.
No, it's a real concern. And as you mentioned, I work for Faith in Action Bay Area. We do a lot of work with immigrant families and students, and we've created a partnership with UESF, the teachers union that Jerry works for, to actually create those safety plans. So educators and immigrant families and high school students themselves have been at the table making safety plans and really building hope in the face of that fear.
What does it look like? Give me an example of a plan.
Well, I mean, part of it is just awareness. We have school staff, security are out and being aware in the community. Parents and others just being there after school, before school, and for the teenagers themselves, high school students, know what's going on. We've been to immigration court. We've done accompaniment to immigration court with high school students. So I think the students themselves are really taking an active role in, again, building a proactive plan so that there's hope in the face of this fear.
Yeah, I will tell you, teenagers these days, they know what's up, right?
That's right.
Back to when I was 17, I think, wow, I was not this aware or active. Jerry, before we have to wrap up, let me ask you, what do you hope San Francisco Unified families do with the upcoming 2-week break away from school?
Well, we're hoping that they stay connected to each other, right? So that they have a sense of community. A lot of families feel a lot of anxiety. They feel very alone. They feel targeted. And so building community, working with staying connected to groups like Faith in Action, like their educators union, to keep each other safe, right? And at this process right now, we're currently working on a legal defense fund to ensure that we fundraise money so that our students and our families have a due process and legal representation. So we're hoping to get those, this time during it's a giving month that we do contribute to ensure that all of our families and our students stay safe and connected.
And it's so important for students to go to school. Right, the children need to be in those seats so they can learn, so the school itself can thrive. What's your best case for telling a parent who says, I don't want to send my 16-year-old son off on his own to make it to school?
Well, that's where I think the partnership between community groups, families, and the teachers union is so powerful. For example, this legal defense fund, if parents know that the school is a potential source for a deposit to pay for a private attorney, which they desperately need, then the school becomes a place of a source of safety. And so that's why we're partnering to make this legal defense fund and to help make schools that source of safety rather than so it's a positive thing for families.
Sort of a helper instead of a neutral.
That's right. That's right.
All right. Well, Jerry and Matt, I appreciate your time and the work you're doing in San Francisco to keep us all informed. Andre?
All right.
Thank you.
Time is 8:40. Developing this morning, dozens of people from Bay Area faith communities have chained themselves to the two main entrances of San Francisco's ICE office. They're protesting the wrongful termination and detainment, of immigrants during their scheduled check-ins. Between May and October of this year, ICE arrested over 120 people at the San Francisco ICE office and immigration court. The protesters are calling on elected officials and all people of faith to stand against illegal immigration enforcement tactics. Indigenous roots with modern sound. We talk with a Latin Billboard editor and curator on the artist collaborations leaving lasting marks on today's music. Investigators are releasing new details about the gunman in the attack at Australia's Bondi Beach. Police say the father and son who carried out the attack were motivated by Islamic State ideology. Both gunmen killed at least 15 people and injured more than a dozen others. Police say the 50-year-old father was shot and killed by police, while his 24-year-old son remains hospitalized with his injuries. The Bay Area Jewish community continues to mourn those lives lost. A rabbi in San Jose told us about his close friend who was shot and injured in the weekend attack. In the video he shared with KTVU, his friend is seen holding a candle with a bullet wound on his back.
It was 5 minutes straight of shooting, and thank God he's all right. He's going to recover. Last night he sent me a video of him lighting the Hanukkah menorah on his 2 feet. Hanukkah isn't a promise that there will never be darkness in the world. But Hanukkah is a promise that every time there will be darkness, we'll be there to bring light.
Jewish groups around the world say they will not allow it to stop them from observing Hanukkah this week. In the Bay Area, several cities are increasing police patrols near Jewish places of worships, schools, and events as well.
Happening today, the Dublin City Council is set to vote on a resolution that opposes the reopening of the women's prison as any kind of correctional facility. Earlier in the month, the Bureau of Prisons sent a letter to the Dublin City Council saying the agency has no plans to reopen the prison, but it does plan to transfer it to the General Services Administration, which could then allow a private company to run it as a detention facility.
This is what happens with facilities before they get turned over to other federal agencies. And in most cases of immigration detention centers, it gets operated actually by a private company.
The prison was shut down a little more than a year ago following a sexual misconduct scandal that saw 10 correctional officers charged with sex crimes. More than 100 women won a $116 million lawsuit against the Bureau of Prisons.
Honored to welcome two incredible onto the stage. Please welcome Shiu Tescott and Renata Flores to the stage. Give them some love.
Well, viral videos like this of Shawn Mendes sharing the stage with indigenous artists from Peru to Canada. It showcases his growing connection to indigenous cultures and commitment to reconciliation and environmental justice through music. It's just one of the many trending collaborations shining a light on artists sharing their native roots through their lyrics. For insight on Latin indigenous artists drawing a growing number of listeners is Isabella Roygoza, Associate Editor for Billboard and Latin Curator for SoundCloud. Isabella, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right, so I want to hear your take on Shawn Mendes inviting indigenous artists to share the stage with him. Tell us about that and how important that is.
No, I think that's very important because obviously, like, he has a very huge stage. I think it was around 18,000 people, and especially closing with a performance of raising the land back flag in front of just a massive crowd. It really does put into the forefront, you know, the struggle that indigenous people have been fighting for centuries at this point. And these two artists have been huge advocates for climate change, indigenous rights, and just pushing systematic change through grassroots organizations. So just to share this platform that Shawn Mendes has with these artists is very, very admirable. So I praise him for that.
Yeah, and he's bringing it into the mainstream because he's such a world-known artist, and he's highlighting these individuals. It is incredible to see what could happen from this. Now let's talk about Lila Downs, who recently performed in Berkeley for Dia de los Muertos. The Mexican-American Grammy winner often mixes indigenous languages in her music. Tell us about her and how she is branching out here and reaching other people around the world.
Yeah, well, Lila Downs has been out for quite some time now. I remember she had a very huge exposure when she came out in the Frida Kahlo video with Salma Hayek. So, you know, Lila Downs has been, championing indigenous peoples, as you mentioned, singing in Mixtec, Zapotec, Nahuatl, and Mayan. And I also admire that she's been advocating for border issues. Just obviously the U.S.-Mexico border has had tragically so many deaths since 1998. There's been 8,000 deaths on record, making it one of the deadliest routes. So just her lending her platform as well in her music, and even just her way of clothing, representing indigenous cultures is just makes her a fantastic artist. And that even just an academy like the Latin Academy recognizes her for her art is a beautiful thing too.
And you recently wrote about another indigenous artist, which was featured on Billboard's new music Latin column called Dr. Notivo. Can you tell us about Dr. Notivo?
Yes, I've been a huge fan of his. He used to be in this trio, and he calls his music Guatemalan, right? He's a Mayan artist, and this track he collaborates with Rocco Pachucote, who is the frontman of Maldita Vecindad. So they paid tribute to this Mayan spiritual leader, and a lot of the earnings that they're earning from the track is going to go back to Tata Pedro Cruz and his foundation to preserve Mayan traditions and wisdom. And this is just a preview to an upcoming album that Dr. Nativo has underway called Barrio Candela. So it's just what is forthcoming of him as well. And I'm happy that, you know, we at Billboard, we can also spotlight these even just underground artists and what the fantastic efforts that they're doing to really kind of uplift their communities as well.
And how about Luzmila Carpio? Tell us about that artist.
Yeah, so she's a legendary Bolivian indigenous singer, composer, and cultural ambassador. She's often called the voice of the Andes. She's known for blending Quechua and Aymara traditions with actually modern electronic sounds. 10 years ago, there's this album that Zizek Records, these artists and producers, remixed her music so brilliantly. It recently turned 10. It's called Luzmila Caprio meets Zizek. And this year, she actually also dropped a new single. So I guess, you know, we're anticipating to hear more material from her. But that's another fantastic artist that really is highlighting, you know, Bolivian tradition and roots in such a beautiful way.
Just great to see the exposure this music is getting to the larger world community here and bringing attention to the issues that they face as well. Isabella Rogoza, Associate Editor for Billboard and Latin Curator for SoundCloud. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Thank you so much.
All right.
All right, it's 8:51. Let's take a look at Highway 4. It has already improved on westbound Highway 4 coming up to the Willow Pass grade, so that looks great. I like that picture. And some of these commutes are beginning to improve, although the Bay Bridge still has quite a bit of slow traffic. And the San Mateo Bridge has improved, so some are better, some are not. You can see that 880 south is still pretty slow from Hayward to Fremont, and the South Bay commute is getting better finally. 8:52, let's bring in Rosemary with today's weather.
All right, Sal, the changes are underway, the ones we've been waiting for. Wet weather now entering portions of Lake County, parts of our North Bay. The Central and South Bay not likely to get a whole lot. You may have a few sprinkles here and there over the next 24 to 36 hours, but really it's just going to be a mostly cloudy, cool one. Now, with that said, this system is disrupting that inversion layer, and that is helping us out in the way of less patchy, dense fog, and our temperatures are not going to be quite as cold as we have been suffering through in recent weeks. Giving you a look here first over areas of Lake County and portions of the North Bay, where a few light showers still reported at this time. If I pull back, you can see it's a Northern California event. It is expected to pretty much stay north of I-80, north of the Golden Gate Bridge. Tomorrow morning, light passing showers joining us before it moves out. And tomorrow afternoon, areas that haven't seen a whole lot of sunshine in weeks will finally get partly cloudy, sunny skies with dry weather for your Wednesday afternoon. Here's a look. The ridge is going to pull back in and strengthen for it temporarily. Wednesday into Thursday, we will have mainly dry weather. It breaks down once again on Friday, and by Friday evening, this storm actually looks to be bigger, juicier, and bringing with it more rain for Saturday and into Sunday. So this first round we're seeing not a whole lot, a few 100ths of an inch for some areas, 1/10 of an inch or 1/4 inch for our North Bay. But by the end of the weekend, inches of rainfall, 3 to 5 right now, the projection for some of the wetter locations to the north. Temperature-wise outside right now, 48 in San Francisco, 43 in Walnut Creek. So a bit of a chilly day, but not quite as cold as yesterday. And afternoon highs will also be coming up. Low 50s to low 60s for today, even a bit warmer Wednesday into Thursday before temperatures drop just a little bit in time for the weekend. But the bigger takeaway here for the weekend, you're going to need that umbrella. Andre?
Thanks for the heads up. Appreciate it. 8:54, a holiday classic hitting the stage when you join us on the 9, how Davie Symphony Hall is transforming into a holiday time capsule for Charlie Brown Christmas.
8:56, there's growing concern about how much time children spend on digital devices, as well as the content they're viewing. The CDC says excessive screen time can lead to poor sleep, anxiety, and other health problems. Experts advise that parents put limits on screen time and manage the content available to their children. Some say that you should approach screen time the same way you do a healthy diet.
Thinking about having your child's media diet mostly filled with high quality educational content, and then having that little bit of sweet entertainment content as well.
A recent study examining more than 300 first graders found 12% of the media they consume was considered educational.
Well, people across our region will soon see a new light display on the Bay Bridge. By early next year, more than 50,000 LED lights will illuminate the western span as part of Bay Lights 360. Now, the project is a revival of that iconic display that first debuted back in 2013. It's now redesigned to withstand weather and marine conditions, too. Organizers say the lights will be visible from both sides of the bay, with a targeted debut as early as March.
A new report shows the use of artificial intelligence in the American workplace is skyrocketing. According to a new Gallup poll, nearly half of all U.S. workers are now using AI tools in their daily work. The 40 to 45% spike came in the second and third quarters of this year. It's mostly visible in the tech and finance industries, less so in retail and healthcare.
All right, 8:58 is your time. Napa County leaders, they are considering a new law that would allow tasting events to happen at vineyards. This pilot program would run from January 1st to July of 2027. Under the law, wineries would only need one permit from the State Department of Alcoholic Beverage Control to host tasting events. Supporters of the law say it will bring visitors closer to the farming and the production side of wine and revive wine tourism.
All right, we are standing right up against a change in the weather that is expected to bring rain, much needed rain to the Bay Area. A look at the forecast and more at 9.